Can everyone hear now? We now have audio. Okay. Take this away. Take this away. All right. So sorry about that. We had an error. Oh, should I not show? All right. We had a mistake. There was an issue with the technology. All right. Well, let's start from the beginning. I think the audio actually had errors right from the beginning. So we were talking about relocate to Canada with menial jobs, and we want to actually talk about the opportunities in tailoring, plumbing, styling, and more. So today we want to center on how you can actually relocate to Canada from anywhere you are to um oh, there's an echo. All right, is there any echo right now, or is it better? Is it much better now? Please let me know right now so that we don't make a mistake of starting again with the echoes and not having issues. Okay. Is it better now? Is it better without the echo? All right. If there's no other issues, if the echo is gone, let's start. Sorry about the issue with the technology. We didn't have any audio for some time. Okay, good now. Thank you. So relocate to Canada with Menial Jobs. We were talking about the opportunities in tailoring and plumbing, styling, and more for people. And we wanted to explain. Basically, let's just start from the beginning. So I would reintroduce myself. I'm Aziz Ola Shudaru, and I'm a Nigerian citizen. I'm also a Canadian permanent resident. I have no foreign travel history apart from, you understand, my permanent residence application from Nigeria to Canada. I also have IELTS and TEF Canada results, and the languages I speak are English and French. But before all this, before I taking IELTS and all other things like the languages I talked about. My past profession was shoe and bag making. I was making shoes and bags, you understand, under the brand A.O.S. The Scene, right from 2015. Before I actually stopped it and I moved into the Nigerian occupation as a language teacher after my schooling. And whilst I was teaching languages, I went into the second profession or the second occupation, which is a web developer because I built my company website myself. But I wanted to talk about the new tech profession you understand, actually started when I wanted to come to Canada, you understand, through my master's was data scientist. But when I landed in Canada, I started my work, you understand, my business as a travel educator. And as a result of that, I set up my business in Ontario, Canada, as you understand, in the travel niche. So why do I say all that? The reason why I say all that is because now I want you to understand that even if you are like me, that you have done a lot of things in your life, you can focus on what is important for menial jobs in order to get selected by by the Canadian immigration body and for you to relocate to Canada successfully. And my promise to you today is that I'm going to show you how to migrate to Canada, either temporarily or permanently, with or without the job, with your family members quickly. And the agenda for today that I'm going to be talking about is the introduction. Why is Canada important? Why are we talking about Canada today? I'll talk about the Canadian workforce, the importance, role, and benefits of menial jobs, the in-demand skilled trades for growing workers. I'll talk about the immigration programs because there are different immigration programs for menial workers. I'll talk about the eligibility criteria. How eligible? What do you need to become eligible to actually relocate to Canada via menial jobs? I'll talk about how you can find a Canadian job, your visa documentation and application process, the support services you would need in order to help you achieve your dream, the admissibility to Canada, what you need to focus on in order to become admissible and to be granted access into Canada. I'll talk about different success stories of people that have done it and how they did it. I'll talk about the financial considerations you need to take cognizance of when you're actually relocating to Canada. I'll talk about the offer and the bonus. And I would like you to actually wait for that because we have something that we're going to show you at the end of this webinar that would really rock your socks and give you much more insight of how you can do it and actually get it done for you. Now, lastly, you would have opportunities for Q&As to answer questions, to ask questions and to get them answered by us. So Pedro, thank you very much. Well done. I am your lecturer. Okay. Before we continue, sorry for because we had an issue with the audio initially. So let me know your name and where you are chatting from. Let me know what you understand where you're chatting from, your country. I, for instance, have talked about myself before. I'm Aziz Shuder from Ontario, Canada. Where are you joining us from? Put it on the comment section as we continue with this webinar. So some people may be asking, why is it Canada? Why do we talk about Canada so much? Why are we, you understand, why are we so focused on Canada? The reason is that Canada has emerged as one of the best or most preferred destinations for immigrants. And the reason for that is that according to the US news, Canada is the second best country. And it's not me that said it, it's the people that actually evaluated countries. They evaluated series of countries, 85 different countries, and they came up with, you understand, a list of best countries. Canada ranked the second after Switzerland. And the reason for that is because of the adventure it provides, the agility, the cultural influence, the entrepreneurship, the heritage, the immigrants that are moving, how it is open to business, how the quality of life is better in Canada. You understand the power Canada has and the social purpose that is available for immigrants in Canada. So without wasting much time, I talked about some of the people that have done exactly what you want to do already. Just like Mr. Diko and his family actually moved from Ilorin, Nigeria to Manitoba. You understand, he was a university graduate. He and his wife with low honors, but he still moved irrespective of his low honors. So some people always ask that, okay, I came out with pass, can I move? Yes, you can move. You understand, you don't even need too much scores in IELTS as a menial job or as a menial worker. You can relocate with even no TEF Canada scores if you are a menial worker, and you don't need any Canadian experience. Do you understand? In order to relocate, even Mr. Lawal and his family also migrated to Canada through Kwara State, Nigeria. Even though he was a lecturer, you understand, in Kwara State, he was a doctor. He was someone that was above 45, 50, you understand, and he didn't have, you understand, a lot of certificates or a lot of, you understand, experience, and he was still able to move to Canada without necessarily, you understand, focusing on what he doesn't have. So today we want to also talk about Rashida, for instance, who relocated to Canada from Lagos State, Nigeria, with just a secondary school, you understand, certification, without spending tens of millions of naira in proof of funds or even in Canadian tuition fees, because now she's even currently studying in Canada and didn't spend so much in, you understand, focusing on what she doesn't have. So thank you, Mr. Pedro. He said I am from Nigeria, Ibadan. My name is, yeah, thank you very much for actually joining us. So just like all other tens of thousands of real immigrants have used this method that we're going to talk about to migrate to Canada, we'll show you how people like Sheye, how people like Mrs. Abiyu, Mrs. like people like Mrs. Diana actually relocated to Canada without, you understand, focusing on what they don't have. We find out that many immigrants focus on what they don't have when it comes to relocation. Focus on what you have. If it's menial job experiences you have, which is the purpose of this webinar, focus on that and use that to relocate to Canada. Now, the Canadian workforce, the reason why today's webinar is important is because the Canadian workforce is more or less increasing year in, year out. You understand? There is always a growing demand for skilled workers in Canada. You understand? Job vacancies have skyrocketed. We have over 1 million job vacancies in Canada currently available for people. So if you have the right connections, you know the right people, you can actually get the job with the right information to actually help you. And as I do always say it, that a man with an experience is never the messy with a man with an opinion. I've been in Canada, I am in Canada, and I've seen people get jobs, people that you may even feel that they are not worth the job in your own reasoning. Do you understand? But they get the job because they have the right connections, they have the right informations, they follow the right processes. So we want to show you how you can follow the right processes. It doesn't matter what you have, but it matters what you are able to give, what you are able to put on the table. And we'll talk about that. So let's begin without wasting much of our time. I was talking about the roles of menial jobs. The roles of menial jobs in Canada cannot be overemphasized. They are essential services that are needed on a daily basis by Canadians, permanent residents, you understand, temporary residents in Canada. If you are part of people that are into plumbing, you can actually work and excel in Canada. You are in tailoring, hairstyling, carpentry, and more. You can excel in Canada. You can also improve the quality of life of people in Canada by making well fitted clothing for them, access to clean water as a plumber, you understand, and making people look and feel good is something that people pay premium price for in Canada. And you can even start your own businesses. You can run small businesses, contribute to the local economies, create job opportunities, even build communities. You understand? Because you would have access to clients, customers sometimes. You understand? Even working with Canadians, working with permanent residents that are able to provide you with what you want is priceless in today's economy in Canada. And it is basically your own path to success, because many people that come into Canada, for some people that come in as a medical doctor, as a lawyer, as a this, that, they may have to first do menial jobs. And people don't understand it. I've seen people that were truck drivers, you understand, in Canada when they landed, but they were medical doctors in Nigeria, for instance. But they had to leave that profession, not because they didn't want it, not because, but they saw that it even paid well. You understand? It paid better than even their medical doctor jobs. You understand? And the barrier of entry to those jobs is is much easier than the barrier of entry to, we understand, medical doctors. So we'll talk about how you can even diversify. If you are working as a menial worker in Canada, you would have access to students, to newcomers, to people working part-time, flexible employment. You would have access to quite a lot of things. All right. Again, economic contribution, you would also contribute to the economy of that country, Canada precisely. You would be able to, you understand, get money, get people to spend money on you because you are the one providing them with a particular service. And some jobs, however, in the menial, you understand, industry are also specialized. In other words, you have to have some certain training, you understand, some expertise. Sometimes you may even have to go to school to actually learn it here, like plumber jobs, electrician jobs, mechanic jobs, because these are still considered highly skilled. But apart from them, there are still other jobs, other services you can run, hair styling, tailoring, spa, that just require your experience. We have had people that didn't have more than secondary school certificates and just had their job reference letter from an employer they worked with before, and they came into Canada with that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Olukayo David from Nigeria. All right, moving on. You can start your businesses, you can go into entrepreneurship. Many people come here as a skilled worker, but when they come here and they see the opportunities that business provides, they may leave, you understand, their profession and get into business because it pays more, it is much more lucrative, and it is something that they would easily break through doing than actually focusing on their trades or on their professions. Now, some of the in-demand skilled trades that I talk about very often are electricians. In fact, I do always talk about my landlord being an electrician, you understand, in Canada. And why is that? Because it is the job that pays well, you understand. He studied how to be an electrician, he has years of experience doing it, and he's being paid, you understand, immensely. Someone that has a house, that has cars, that has, you understand, takes care of his children and everything. Why does it do that? It's because it pays well. In fact, some of these in-demand skilled trades pays well for people than even people that are even going to, you understand, offices, sitting there in offices like bankers here. Why? Because they can actually charge a premium for the services that they do render. So if you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you're a welder, you're a carpenter, tile setter, bricklayer, heavy equipment operators, HVAC technicians, if you are a home child care provider, if you are a nanny, you are an housekeeper, you are an auto mechanic, CNC operators, sheet metal workers, painter and decorators, industrial mechanics, glassiers, you understand, cleaners, you also have that opportunity. Thank you, Mohammed Austin from Sierra Leone. Really appreciate you joining us today. Now, this is where we were before when we were talking about the kind of programs you can do in order to come into Canada as a menial job professional. Some of the immigration programs you could do is the study permit. And what do you actually need to focus on when you're coming in as a menial worker under the study permit? You need to focus on the option 4. And the option 4 is the vocational training. And what does the vocational training mean? Like I talked about the share war, for instance, in Nigeria. These are the kind of category-based draws, category-based studies for people that are into handiwork. You understand? If you are into any handiwork whatsoever, any menial job, you can go to schools. There are schools that, like colleges in Canada, that will teach you how to become a plumber, that will teach you how to become an electrician, that will teach you how to become, you understand? And these are jobs that some of them may even be licensed. And when you are a licensed professional, a licensed menial worker, you'll be paid more than someone that is not licensed. You understand? You'll be paid more than someone that is just actually getting, I'm coming from, you understand, a foreign country which is on country's experience. Now you can also get jobs. Many people would always ask me that, are visa sponsorship jobs available? They are available, but the fact about it is that they are not, you understand, they are not jobs that are, they are very, very competitive. Basically, they are very, very competitive. And if you don't have the right networks, you don't have the right information, you may not get that job. There are different kinds of work permit you could get. Either the one that you get as an open work permit. If, for instance, your wife is actually here under the study permit, you can actually get an open work permit by virtue of her being here, and just come and join her without necessarily having a job before you actually land. But if you are coming as an employer specific, under employer specific work permit, you have to get a valid job offer from your country first before you now apply for the employer specific work permit. So just note that. Again, you can come in through the immigration programs for menial jobs that are under the express entry pool. There are just two different programs I would like to focus on here, which is the federal skilled trades program. Do you understand? And the category based selection. Many people don't know that now they are now selecting people from the express entry pool under the category-based selections for people that are just into the trades business, people that are plumbers, electricians, you understand, carpenters. You can get selected under the category-based selections. I will still talk about the eligibility criteria for you to get selected, but I just want you to know that these are the programs available for people that are into the menial jobs. Now, another thing is the provincial programs for menial jobs. There are certain provincial programs that you can actually apply to as a menial worker to actually work in Canada. Like, for instance, you can work under the Prince Edward Island critical worker stream. Some of these things you can Google it yourself and see that these programs are readily available for people in low skilled, you understand, or in menial jobs. Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, SINP, for agriculture. Like, for instance, if you are a picker, you are a fruit picker, you understand, you are a harvester, you can actually get jobs in this niche, you understand, through the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program for agriculture and hospitality workers. Truck drivers could also get jobs as menial jobs. Trade workers, British Columbia Provincial Nominee Program, BCPNP, for workers in the food sector. For instance, if you're a food server, you're a beverage server, you are a food supervisor, you can get jobs in that niche. Hospitality, if you're in the tourism or food processing industries, you can also get jobs in that particular niche to actually come to Canada. Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program is another, the rural renewal stream, because there are still other streams, but the rural renewal stream. Now, I want to give you a tip from all these programs we are talking about. If you really quickly want to get jobs as a menial worker, focus on provinces, you understand, that are not necessarily what? They are not necessarily in the major cities. Focus on the ones that are in the low, you understand, smaller cities that are in the rural areas. And that's why they talked about the rural renewal stream in Alberta. That would help you to get jobs, menial jobs, faster. You understand? Also, if you have a family in Canada, you can go through the family reunification pathway to permanent residence. In other words, your family in Canada could actually help you, you understand, could sponsor you basically, because some people ask for visa sponsorship, but that one is for what? The employer to decide. But your family can also assist you, can also support you to actually come to Canada. You don't need to wait if you have a family member, or even if you have a friend. There are some provinces that allows friends, you understand, to actually sponsor basically, or to support other immigrants. So if you have friends, if you have families that are willing to act, it depends on your rapport with them. They can actually help you to come to Canada through that process. Now, one of the ways that I do talk about, in fact, I've had people that use this pathway, is the visitor visa to refugee and asylum programs. This is another program that people shy away from, but could have immense benefits, especially for people that don't have much. If you don't have so much money to actually use in processing your application, you understand, and you don't have so much time again, because something about this is, if you are looking for visa sponsorship, it takes so much time. If you are looking to actually work on it yourself, you can go through the permanent residence route. But if you don't have money and you don't have time, you can almost immediately apply for visitor visa, come into Canada as a visitor, and at the port of entry, there's something they call Kawasoke. You understand, in Yoruba? Basically, you can just apply for asylum or as a refugee. Immediately, you actually land in Canada in the airport. And with that, the government of Canada would help you to actually apply for refugee programs. And most of them is always freely. You don't even need to get an immigration lawyer. You understand? You would apply freely from the airport, and basically you would become someone that the government of Canada will protect if you are finally approved of that visa. Now, another person, before I actually move on, I want to talk about another person we work with, like Mrs. Abio, I mentioned before. One of her testimonials that she gave us, which we really appreciate, is one testimonial she always talked about. Now, she said her and her friend, yes, Mrs. Adaba, she was the first person we worked with before Ms. Abiyua was introduced to us through Mrs. Adaba, and they both relocated to Canada via their families from Lagos to two provinces, Alberta and Manitoba in Canada. And one thing I want you to learn from this is that she actually didn't believe that it was possible before, but later on she believed, and after believing, she was able to actually use the provincial nominee programs, you understand, to actually get our own our own permanent residence. But I don't want to focus so much on it, because today we want to talk about not necessarily about them but about you. Now, this was me 12 months ago. I had, just like I said, no travel experience. I have not gone to any foreign country. In fact, my first passport was actually stamped, was cancelled without prejudice by the Nigerian immigration office because I didn't relocate to any country. You understand? But this is me today. I got my permanent residence, you understand, visa, and you also can get it. And it's not necessary you get your permanent residence visa almost immediately. It's not necessary you actually focus so much on, especially for people that are not willing to go through the process we went through. You understand? You don't want to write exams. You can come in, as I told you, through the visitor visa, through the work permit, through the study permit. You understand? But you don't need to spend necessarily a lot of time. You just need to know the right stuff and actually do the right thing at the right time. So I'm going to be delivering to two types of people today. Firstly, people that want to help themselves. You want to help your family and you understand, yourself to actually relocate to Canada. And I'm going to be helping you to actually achieve that big time today. Two, I want to help people that want to spread your word out. That yes, there is another program that you could actually do. There's another program that could be in your best interest. There's another program, or there are even sets of programs that you could inform other people about and actually get benefit from it. So maybe I should ask, who here would like to migrate to Canada quickly instead of being where you are right now? Who here would like to leave their own home country? Joseph Olubayo from Ibadan, Nigeria. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you joining us today. Who here would like to actually relocate faster without spending so much time? You understand? Put it on the comment section. Now, I want to tell you, instead of focusing on what you can't control, focus on what you can control. And it's very important. The minimum requirements for people that want to come in under the skill trades, under express entry, is that they need to have 2 years of full-time work experience. You understand, in that particular trade within the last 5 years. For instance, if you say you're an electrician, you need to show that you have 2 years of experience from your country, you understand, in order to apply under skill trades, under express entry. But there are still other programs that you could just have 1 year of experience and get eligible. There are still other programs you could have 6 months. There are some other programs that you don't even need any experience, but you just have that willingness to relocate. You understand? The skilled worker program. Okay, Mr. Kenny, thank you. Yes, I want to relocate. Really appreciate that. Um, there are some jobs, or there are some programs that will require you to have job offers, which I've talked about, like the skilled worker trade program under federal skilled worker program. There are a federal skilled trades program. There are even some provincial programs that will require you to have job offers. But I relocated to Canada without having a job offer. You understand? And there are several people that relocated without having a job offer. So you also can actually relocate without having a job offer, without even being already in Canada. Some people are already in Canada. They have what we call the certificate of qualification from a province. You understand? In other words, they have taken an exam, they have passed the exam, they have been issued a license. I talked about some provinces issuing license to people to practice menial jobs in Canada. But you don't need to go through that process if you actually follow through another process, which I will show you very shortly. Now, another thing is that some people need to get assessed by a province or territory before they are given any certificate of qualification, before they are given any valid job offer, or before their job, which is regulated. For instance, as an airplane mechanic, you have to be regulated before you can actually follow through that kind of process. Okay, Mr. Sese Mohammed, thank you very much. Me too. You want to relocate? Now, there are some programs as well, like the Express Entry program I talked about. One of the eligibility criteria is that you need to have IELTS. We, for instance, when we did IELTS, we had 8.0, 9.0, but it's not necessary for you to have 8.0, 9.0. The minimum you need to have if you want to write the IELTS, and I need to mention that if you want to write the IELTS or the TEF Canada, is to have CLB4 or CLB5 if you want to apply for permanent residence directly. Do you understand? But there are some programs, again, as I do say, that do not necessitate you to actually follow through these examinations, which I'll talk about shortly. Now, moving on, before that, I'll also talk about the language ability. Some people write English exams like IELTS or CELPIP. Some will write French exam like TEF Canada or TCF Canada in order to have these qualifications, either the CLB4 or 5 I talked about, within 2 years period before they apply. But as I said, this is too much for menial jobs. In fact, many people cannot even speak proper English. And I've seen people in Canada here. I've seen Indians. I've seen Punjabi people. I've seen even Nigerians that cannot even speak English well. So how did they relocate to Canada without necessarily speaking English very well? You understand? There's someone that I met, like when we first landed in Canada. He was from Ukraine. You understand? And he came into Canada, and when I was speaking English to him from the airport down to our house, he wasn't able to speak correct English. Why? Because he knows the way to go about it. Even though yes, the war was there, so they gave them some kind of preferential treatment. But there are some the war is not in India, it's not in Punjabi, it's not in other places. But they are still relocating to Canada. Why and how? That's what you need to ask yourself because they know the way. So you too, if we are going to tell you what to do today, I want to ask you, do you want to go through all those stress we talked about before, or you want a shortcut? Do you want to go through all those steps we talked about, the exam process, you want to go through the experience process, you want to go through, you understand, the proof of funds process, or you want a surer way, you want a faster way, you want a better way, you want a way that won't stress you? If that is you, the study permit route is one way out of the many ways we are going to talk about that you can actually go through. I talked about the vocational trainings that you could actually work in. You could actually, you understand. And something about these vocational trainings, maybe I should just explain, is that you will not just have the opportunity to work alone, you to study alone. You will have the opportunity to also work while you are studying. You will have the opportunity to do things that other people are doing while they are studying. You would be able to, if you want to even start up your own business, do a side gig, you will be able to do it and whilst you are studying. You understand? And there are some, what they call it, there are some colleges that would actually pay you. There are some organizations that will pay you a kind of scholarship in order to study what you want to study freely without actually paying more for it. So who amongst you would like something like that? Who amongst you would want to follow through that process? Okay, I talked about the visitor to refugee asylum process. The visitor process, you could actually apply for visiting. You understand? You could seek asylum when you land, which I've talked about shortly. But the process by which you would go through it and get permanent residence without necessarily going through all those language process and everything is what we are going to talk about shortly. So, bottom line, migrating into Canada with or without a menial job offer is doable with any of these routes. And after landing, an immigrant can now advance his or her career either in school or in the Canadian job market. And how are you going to go about it? If, for instance, you have landed in Canada and you want a job, if, for instance, you are still in your own country and you want a job, if, for instance, you are willing to go through the process and you want a job, please give me the best way that is faster and better. Okay, Sese Muhammad Augustine, thank you very much. Now we are getting into it. Now, we always talk about three different ways you can go through the process. You can either do it yourself, which is very fine. In fact, the immigration office, IRCC, will always tell you you can do all what we are talking about here, you can do it yourself. Do you understand? It's not compulsory you do it with anybody. It is always possible for you to do it yourself. I do talk about it. I relocated myself. I did my processing myself. My common law partner came to Canada myself. So if I can do it myself, you too can do it yourself. Do you understand? You don't need to spend so much. You understand? Giving any travel agent, any licensed immigration consultant, or immigration lawyer. You understand? So there are three different ways you can go about actually getting a job. Either take time to apply online with a Canadian style resume, with a cover letter, a portfolio. If you go to our website, ftc.aosacademy.com, we have several, you understand, online courses that can teach you how to go about it through this first way, the do-it-yourself process. And it's very okay. There are some free courses there that you could go through and follow through that process yourself. Two, you can go through the consultation sessions with career gurus, you understand, for valuable job search insight and accountability. Here is the do it with me process, whereby you do it with a travel expert. Do you understand? And the person will actually guide you through the process to actually get it done. And there are processes whereby you could leverage links. You understand? Networks, connections. I do always ask people when they first chat with me, who do you have in Canada that can assist you? Who do you actually have formed relationship with? Sometimes some people reach out to me on LinkedIn and they were not even my family, they were not my friends. You understand? But because they reached out, and see, you want to get something. I want to always make people understand this. If you want something that people would help you do things, you too, you have to give something in return. Everything is not money, but you have to be willing to actually give something in return. So let me ask you, what's that thing? You to be thinking of it. What's that thing that would allow one person to help you because you are able to give something in return for that thing? Do you understand? What's that particular thing? I'm giving you tips by which we ourselves in Canada used to get things from even other Canadians. You understand? Because we are willing to give them something in return. Nothing is free in this world. So you need to ask yourself, what is that thing that they can need? You understand? In Canada, even if you're outside of Canada, that you can give them in return in order to get what you want. So again, go through your links, go through your connections, go through your networks to look for people that can actually help you to get what you want whilst you give them what they can actually need from you. Now, here's how I learned this thing. I was the director at A.O.S Academy in Nigeria. I was 25 years old, struggling in my business. I was not very happy playing local, so I wanted to migrate to Canada quickly. But how did I go about it? I needed to first of all learn through the process. Me, I went through the process of language learning through exam. You understand the exam industry. You understand. I took exams myself. I took educational credential assessment. I applied for express entry. You understand, building my profile. But something happened. I was not selected. You understand? Even though, yes, I did it myself, I wasn't selected. So I needed to go through the right way. I needed to know what I could do differently in order to get what I wanted. So I noticed that during the process of me doing it myself, I actually chose a national occupation code, which was wrong. Many of you now, some of you may be on the express entry profile already, but because you don't have the NOC code that are being selected right now, you may not be selected. So you need to ask yourself, which occupations are they selecting right now? And as I've showed in this webinar and I show in other webinars, there are some, once it's something you can browse yourself. Just browse it. Express entry rounds of invitation. Even if you are not even doing permanent residency, browse it. Work permit or in-demand jobs for temporary foreign workers in Canada. You would always get a list. There's always a list of people, just as I've listed some in-demand jobs for you for menial job or menial workers. There are always some list of people that they are currently needing. Do you understand? So it is that list you would focus on and kind of streamline your own what? Your own process towards. Don't just do all other things, maybe because, for instance, you are a language teacher like me, as I was before, and you focus on language teaching. You may not get that job. So if you need to enter the tech industry, look at it. If you need to enter the hair styling industry, look at it. If you need to enter the plumbing industry in order to just relocate to Canada, you understand, follow through that process. And again, check the provinces that are currently looking for what you currently have. There are some skill trades programs that Ontario province needs. There are some that Nova Scotia needs, Prince Edward Island needs, Saskatchewan needs. So look at those ones and what you have currently that you can use to actually relocate. So in other words, pick 3 to 4 best pathways that you can use to process either your permanent residence or your temporary residence, and also kind of evaluate, ask yourself the questions. You understand? That what you are doing currently, would it increase the number of immigrations programs that you are eligible for, or will it reduce it? Think of what you are doing right now, that if you continue following through that process, would you get selected eventually? Would your temporary or permanent residence be achievable, or will it be not? Look at what you are doing currently and ask yourself questions that, would it lead them to invite you, either the employer invites you, either the province invites you, either the federal government of Canada invites you, and would you get that visa that you want at the end of the day? I, for instance, I went through that process. I saw that yes, I wanted permanent residence, and what I did was that I wrote IELTS. I failed at one point. You understand? I wrote IELTS 3 times, but you may not have to go through that process. You understand? I actually got my band 8.0. It expired and I wasted the first, you understand, the first what they call it, the first certificate or the first test result. At the end of the day, the second IELTS I did, I failed it. The third IELTS I now made it. You understand? In 2022. You understand? After 2018, I passed. 2020, it expired. 2022, I had to write another one. Again, for the TEF Canada, the first one I did, I didn't pass it. The second one I did, I didn't pass it 2020. It was in 2022, you understand, that I actually made my TEF Canada after even writing the DAF examinations. But I don't always want to focus on you understand, the examinations itself, because I know many people here don't want to even write the examinations. You understand? Many people here don't have the time to write the examination. So there's a shorter process, there's an easier process. You understand? But before I talk about the easier process, again, let me talk about the change. What happened after my 2 failures? I found out that I could actually succeed by doing some things differently. You understand? After my 2 failures, after waiting 4 whole years to actually get there, I found out that there are some easier ways There are some easier things I need to do. There are some people I needed to collaborate with. There are some links that I had in Canada I need to reach out to. There are some people that, because if I didn't go through the failures, I won't be here talking to you this webinar. I won't be here, you understand, educating you on what you do. You understand? So I want you to actually, I want to ask you questions now. Not only with this that I'm going to show you now, not only will it help you qualify for a high paying job when you land in Canada, but it would also help you whether if you have a Canadian resume, whether if you have a Canadian style certificate, whether if you have a degree, whether if you have a diploma, or you don't even have any of these things we mentioned. I want to show you that there's a way that you can actually do it. There's a way that, as they do say, follow the person who road, so that you too you become successful at the end of the day. And you will not have to stress yourself for little things. You will not have to stress yourself for things that matter less. You understand? If you are not someone that wants to take exams, if you are not someone that wants to waste time, the best you could do is to learn the tricks and the tips, learn the shortcuts people are going through, and go through that process. If you want to learn IELTS, for instance, IELTS Cambridge materials, we do talk about it. TEF Canada materials like entraînement intensif, exercice de grammaire, you understand? TEF, d'évaluation de français, all those things are available, 50 activity. But if you don't want to learn it, if you still are willing, do you understand, to actually get what you want without stressing so much about it, without making the language test complicated, without even focusing on what you don't have, without you focusing on the NOC codes that, for instance, you just want something that won't necessarily involve you taking so much of time or wasting so much of time in order not to crash your Canadian immigration dream. There's a better way. And I've talked about some of it already, that yes, you have to pick NOC codes within 3 to 4, you understand, draws that have been picked, like from the Ontario draws, from the Quebec draws, the Saskatchewan draws, Prince Edward Island draws. You have to run the numbers, you have to look at the occupations that they are selecting, like I did, you understand, when I was actually working on my own selections, that what were the occupations that they were selected, what were the NOC codes that were important for people to get selected. There are some NOC codes right now that are based on menial jobs, truck driver jobs. I've given you instance, truck driver jobs, for instance, they are very much needed in Canada. You understand? So you need to ask yourself questions. What are you good at? Maybe I should ask you right now. Put it on the chat section. Let me know, what are you good at currently? And what other work experience do you have apart from the ones that you have in an office? Some of you are administrative officers. Forget about that right now. What do you have in the menial job space? It may be something that, for instance, like my own common law partner, she didn't go and learn how to make hairdressing. She was just seeing people do it and she had that experience. And now she's earning from actually making hairdressing apart from going to school in Canada. So let me ask you, what do you have in the menial job space, in the low skilled worker space, that you could actually use to get what you want? Put it down in the comment section. And how can you prove it? If, for instance, you can tell your friend that you have known for so long that, okay, yes, oh, please, oh, I want to apply for a job from Canada, a menial job, and they need me to show that I'm good in electrical works. Can you ask your friend that is still in Canada, to in Nigeria or maybe in Kenya or anywhere, to write you a job reference letter, you understand, that will show that you have experience in that niche? So put it down. What are you also good at apart from the normal jobs that you have been doing, apart from the jobs that are not in the menial job space? Put it down in the comment section. Let me know. Now, I did my own and I saw that I was good in tech. I was good in web development. I built my past website, just like I said, and I was doing my master's in the University of East London through UNICAF scholarship. So this was what I used to relocate to Canada. I didn't have menial jobs. You understand? I didn't have that skill apart from the shoe and bag making I talked about. But even with that, I was not willing to go back, because some of you may not be willing to go back to that. So if you are good in tech, put down what you are good at. Okay, Damilari Oyebanji, thank you very much. You say you are good in plumbing. That's a very good one. Who else is good in another menial job? Now, I want you to look at your transferable skills. Find out your transferable skills. Canada is not all about people that are driving Uber, for instance, in Canada, are not people that learned how to drive as an Uber driver. Do you understand? They are just people that, yes, they were driving for their families. They were driving to and fro from work. You understand? They were driving in their home country. I've seen people like from Pakistan driving here. They didn't say they wanted to go and learn how to drive somewhere or they wanted to become Uber drivers. But when they came into Canada, they started using that as a side hustle. And many of them have 2, 3 cars now that they are giving other people to drive in Canada and earning big buck for it as a Uber driver. So put it down. Let me know, what are your in-demand skills? What are the skills that you have currently that are in demand in Canada that can actually put you apart, stand you apart from the crowd? Let me know. Put it in the comment section. Now, I want to talk about the Canadian job offer. This is the heartless and fearless job, you understand, thing ever when it comes to relocating to Canada. It is difficult, I do say it is difficult to get a job because it's just as if you want to snatch the meal of either a lion or a tiger in the world. And who are the lion, who are the tiger in this instance? Canadian citizens are the lion. They are the ones that are the king of the jungle because they are the ones the Canadian government would first of all give any job offer before they think of people from outside. The tigers are people like us, permanent residents who came into Canada, you understand, as a permanent resident, and now we will get jobs before you that are coming from outside. Why? Because we are the ones that they are looking up for first before they look for people outside. You understand? But a hyena is someone that doesn't care whether someone is a lion or tiger. It is the qualified patient job seeker. Whether someone is a lion or tiger, the hyena doesn't want to care. All they are bothered about is to get that job. And I want to make you understand the reason why you have to become an hyena, so that you will get the meal of the tiger, get the meal of the lion, and become someone that, whether be the labor market is hard, whether be it is stressful, whether be it is expensive, whether be it is something that people are not getting, you will get it no matter what. Okay, Sisse Mohammed, thank you very much. You say you're a bricklayer. It has been long currently, and you're into software engineering. Very good, very good. That's a very good profession. Now, I would show you what you need to do in order to get the job. But before then, another thing people would always like to ask is that, oh, I need a visa sponsorship job. Do you understand? And yes, visa sponsorship jobs, I do say it. You have 2 ways to actually get it, 2 major ways. Either you have the time to actually apply to thousands of jobs, hundreds of jobs, you understand, and be willing to wait on the process. See, if you don't have money to process something, you need to have the time. Is one of the things. And if you don't have the time, you need to look for people that have the time to actually help you, or you need to look for people that have that job that you actually need. You understand? And some people always ask that proof of funds, that okay, do I need proof of, yes, you need proof of funds if it's for maybe like study permits, for visitor visa, but there are ways to even get the proof of funds without you necessarily having the money in your bank account. Do you understand? There are ways to actually have it without it being your own money. You can use the concept of the OPM, other people's money. In other words, you can get money from money lenders without breaking the bank. You understand? You can also become admissible to Canada by actually going to your medicals, going to your police clearance certificate, after you are sure that you don't have any criminal records in your home country or in abroad if you have actually traveled before. You understand? And again, you have to follow through the biometrics and visa. In fact, we applied for someone, I think that was day before yesterday. Yes, day before yesterday, for visitor visa. And he got his request for biometrics. That was yesterday. Do you understand? To go for his biometrics. And why am I talking about this? You can actually start processing something right now without necessarily having so much. This man is someone that didn't really have the proof of funds. It was sorted for him. You understand? He's someone that didn't actually have a job currently waiting for him in Canada. Do you understand? But he's entering Canada as a visitor. He linked with a family member, with a friend rather, with a friend that is in Calgary, Alberta. You understand? To actually give him what we know as an invitation letter. You understand? To get into Canada. And again, I do always talk about it on my social media platforms. You don't need even an invitation letter to get into Canada. We have seen people like a lady we did it for that came into Canada as a visitor without necessarily having an invitation letter. And as soon as she came in, she just applied for asylum or refugee and she became a refugee in Canada. And with that, she can wait for at least a year in Canada, even above the 6-month period of visitor visa, before they actually apply for or before they actually approve our application for refugee asylum seeking. So I need to ask you, which pathway do you want to go through? Okay, Opeyemi Morrison, IT enterprise solutions, sales, speaking on Netflix, very good cyber solutions. These are very good occupations. These are things that, yes, Canada are really needing. These are things that you don't necessarily need to focus on what you don't have. If you don't have IELTS, you don't have TEF Canada, forget about it. Use what you have to get what you want. That's the essence of what we're talking about today. Now, even though you will not most likely become a permanent resident yet. For instance, like the person I said came in as a visitor, the person I said came in as a student. Even if you will not get PR first, it is always a good process to always plan towards PR as soon as you land in Canada, whether be it as a visitor, whether be it as a worker or as a student. Do you understand? Plan through the process so that when you finally are relaxed, when you are finally have settled in Canada, you can now apply for PR. Be like us, that yes, you would get your permanent residence visa for yourself, for your family members, and for even other people, just like we have gotten for our clients. So far in this presentation, we have covered firstly how immigrants never got a job offer from outside Canada. People like Sheye, people like Mr. Lawal, people like Mr. Patrick and Mr. Diko and his wife. These people came into Canada, they didn't get a job offer from Nigeria, but now all of them are working in Canada in their various jobs. And even some of them even have side gigs, side businesses that they are doing in Canada without necessarily. Some of them are working in banks, some of them are working in, you understand, universities. Like Mr. Lawal is working in university, Mr. Shea is working in a bank, Lawal is working in, you understand, a social service company, but they still have other side businesses. Some are still in the menial job space doing what they actually want to do to earn more money. So even if you don't want to learn French, even if you don't want to prepare for IELTS and get the 7877 formula, I've told you that even for skilled work, skilled trades, now you need just CLB5, CLB4 to actually get it. But if you don't want to go through that process, you can still get nominated, you can still get invited, you can still get selected to move to Canada. We have had people that just did visitor visa and they just got their visa without necessarily having those processes, without necessarily having those documentations. So you can come into Canada, you can get nominated, you understand, by a province and get invited for permanent residence even after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years of being in Canada as a temporary resident. If you have no travel experience, just like me, as I told you, I had no travel experience, but I still came in, I still got my permanent residence, you understand, and I didn't spend tens of millions of naira to actually get it. I didn't waste time, you understand, to actually get it. So with the Canada immigration process, I know it works and it will definitely work for you, because your eligibility process, it does not need to be so, you understand, it doesn't need to be so cumbersome. You don't need to write IELTS, you don't need to write TEF Canada, you don't need to focus on NOC codes, you don't need to even focus on proof of funds, you don't need to focus on things that you cannot change. Like the man I talked about that we did visitor visa for now, his biometrics is coming up on Thursday. He will go do his biometrics, and within few time he will get his visitor visa and actually get to tour Canada easily without stressing himself. And he can even start a business as soon as he lands into Canada. Do you understand? If he wants to. So what I'm trying to say is that just like me, as I started my own business, you can start up your own business in the menial job space. You understand, when you land in Canada, whether it be as a tailor, as a plumber, as a stylist. Some people, like for instance, some people are hairdressers here. You understand? And they are doing it for people in their homes. They are doing it for people what, without even necessarily having, you understand, a structure yet, and they're already earning. If you know how to do braiding, for instance, you can actually get jobs in Canada. You can set up something for yourself and actually start up working on that. So my questions for you now is that, was our time together thus far enjoyable for you? Did you find anything valuable from all what we talked about? You understand? Do you actually feel comfortable that you can also migrate to Canada as quickly as possible with all the information I've showed you today? And have you come up with some good ways based on all what we talked about in order to help you actually relocate to Canada? Are you going to use at least one or two out of these techniques that I have actually shared with you? You understand, to benefit yourself, to help yourself to relocate to Canada. So Mr. Damilare Oyebanji said, are you sure I can move without spending millions of naira? Now, A lot of people have done it before. We talked about the visa sponsorship. The visa sponsorship being a a kind of pathway you can use to relocate to Canada, whereby the employer would actually sponsor you to come to Canada. They will be the one that will spend those millions of naira for you, because we have the partial sponsorship, we have the total sponsorship. If you are able to get a full sponsorship from a Canadian employer, you understand. We have talked about it in one of our webinars before, career abroad package. If you go on, still on our YouTube channel, career abroad, you understand how to actually get jobs in Canada. We extended, you understand, that explanation. We extended how you could go through to actually get jobs. So you could get sponsorships whereby the employer, because you are going to work for the person, you are going to basically trade your time for that employer, and the employer is willing to actually get you to what, get you to work for him, you understand, whilst paying for your employee, paying for your what, relocation, because nothing is free, as I do tell people. But the employer is willing to actually let you work. He is going to pay for your relocation, but you would also work for him in order to what, in order to pay for that what, in order to pay for that relocation at the end of the day. So it's very possible to actually relocate to Canada that way. So even if we have the full day to talk about all these things, within just 1 hour and few minutes, we can't talk of all this in detail. Thank God we even plan to use about 2 hours, but we are trying to shorten all what we have for today. And all what I've talked about, even though I rushed through it, is just the tip of the iceberg. We can still talk about it in detail. We'll still have time. If you enjoyed what we have talked about today, I know we wasted some time at the beginning because of the technology, so I'm trying to rush up what we have. If you have any questions, you can actually ask right now. Now, before doing the presentation today, I was actually faced with two choices. I wanted to ask myself that, okay, if I give you all what I have for you today, can you do it yourself? You understand? Or I asked myself, like, the first option, is it that I leave you to do it alone? After sharing you all the ideas I had today, is it that you have to do it yourself? I was thinking to myself, do I leave it for you to do it alone? Or, and if you have the absolute, I have the absolute confidence right now that with everything we have shared with you today, you will be able to put it into action and get results, you understand, from what we talked about. I know we rushed through some, but if you go through all what we have, and that's why it is available on YouTube for you, left on your own, you can always go back in this presentation and learn more from all what we said, all what we skipped through, and use it for yourself. And I'm sure that it will definitely work for you. But what if there was another option? What if we can actually do it together? I talked about the 3 different ways you can actually do things. We can't talk about everything in the short webinar, like the process of visitation, a visitor visa. We can't talk about it here. There are too much things we can talk about that you may not be able to. It can take us days before we can finish it up. You understand how to actually get people on LinkedIn, for instance, to actually help in your immigration process. That's another thing that we didn't talk about. How to actually get people to actually schools to actually give you admission to come and study vocational trainings in Canada. We didn't talk about it in details because there's no time. So the second option is that, do you want us to do it together? Which option do you want? Is it the option of doing it alone, going through the process yourself, or do you want us to do it together so that we can create a kind of win-win situation for two of us? So as a result of that, when I thought about it so much, I said, yes, I need to do it together with you. I need to help you to walk through, just like you said, can I actually move to Canada without spending millions of naira? That's a good question. People have done it, people are currently doing it, and with the right help, with the right knowledge, you can definitely also do it yourself. So the result of working more than 12 hours a day for more than 4 years, it made me realize that many people are relocating to Canada. In fact, the statistics shows that many people are coming into Canada on a daily basis. Do you understand? So there are ways you can actually set up your life, you can set up your business, your education, and still get an high-paying job for you, your common law partner, or your spouse and your children as soon as you land in Canada. So everything that I learned within 2018 till now, more than half a decade of immigration experience, together with people that we have been working together, I want to actually help you to actually come through it. I want to help you to achieve it just like we also achieved. In other words, I have the pleasure to introduce to you our Canada Menial Job system. Now, this is the package that would help you to get Canadian opportunities in tailoring, in plumbing, in styling, and even more. I didn't talk about a lot of things here, and because we can't actually talk about it fully, you understand, yeah, then that's the reason why we also brought about the system that would help you, you understand, help you actually do it together, or even do it for you if you actually want it. So now this is going to be a step-by-step approach for migrating to Canada at once, you understand, without spending 20,000 Canadian dollars or more, with no travel experience, just like me, with even if you had previous visa rejections. We have had people that had bans, people that had visa refusals. You can actually get it. Someone chatted with me currently and said, yes, she got a visa rejection for study permit. You can actually, with what we want to tell you, what we want to show you today, you can actually get to move to Canada with or without a menial job with this. Even if your first attempt, your second attempt, your third attempt of visa was rejected or denied, you can actually get it. Even if you have created an Express Entry profile and you have not gotten an invitation from Canada, you can actually get it possible. Even if you are too old and have almost given up on your possibility of relocating to Canada, we have someone that actually relocated to Canada shortly that was about 50 plus years. It doesn't matter how long, you understand, or how old you are. It matters on the information you have and what you can actually do to actually get to move to Canada quickly. So what we are trying to say in essence is that you can either do it the right way with the right people at the right time as quickly as possible to actually fast track your journey, or you can actually waste time without actually getting it. I, for instance, when I traveled, because I wanted to do it myself, I wanted to follow the PR process, I spent money. You understand? I spent roughly 6.7 million naira as at then in order to process it. That was how much I spent, which is even more than 12,000 or $15,000 right now, to actually, due to the Nigerian exchange rate. But you don't need to follow through that trial by error. You don't need to actually focus, spend so much of time. 5 years was the time I spent to actually relocate to Canada. But there's a faster, there's a cheaper, and there's an easier way for you to actually go through that process. And even if you haven't relocated before, even if you just want to dive into the process, even if you don't even get the 8.0 IELTS score, or you don't even, you understand, have what it takes to speak English well or to even learn French, there is a better way, like Mr. Badejo actually did, actually getting his sponsorship actually through a family member. You understand, after him writing an ELTS, you can actually get it done for you. You can get it easier without spending so much, without spending so much time, and without doing so much about this. Now, there's a shortcut and there's a fun way, basically. That's what we're trying to say. There's a shortcut you can go through to actually do it without even learning French, without being perfect in English, in French language, without you spending 11 months or more. You understand? Like we spent to become PR residents of Canada. So you may be asking, how exactly can I do it? It's not through visa lottery. It's not through applying, because there's nothing called even visa lottery in Canada. Don't be scammed. Everything they call about visa lottery on WhatsApp, on other places are fake. You understand? There's nothing. US has visa lottery, but not Canada. So you can literally get to work on your visa application, get a work from Canada or in Canada when you land, through a process that would go through our immigration lawyer. Like we have partnered with travel expert immigration lawyer in Canada here, a licensed regulated Canada immigration consultants. We have also partnered with a business development officer firm that can actually help you achieve it. But I do always tell people, I am not a consultant, I am not a lawyer, I am not a travel agent. We are just language school people that focus in training people on how to learn languages, how to improve their career, and how to work on personal development, and in this context, travel. You understand? Travel, how to actually help them in their travels. But we have people, specialists, people that are in charge, people that can actually help you relocate to Canada faster, people that can help you tremendously. You understand? And most travel agents won't help you do this. So let me ask you again, do you also want to cross the ocean? Do you also want to leave Africa, leave Asia? For instance, like me that lived Nigeria and got to Brampton, Canada. through the permanent residence route? What do you want to do? Do you want access to our courses, our books, our travel systems, our trainings, and you understand, to help you relocate from your country and to actually move to Canada? Do you hope you don't want to get stuck like I did, for instance, until someone actually asks me a question that am I actually scared to actually start all over again elsewhere? When I was frustrated in Lorin Kwara State, when I didn't have anything, when my business was more or less crumbling in Canada due to the corruption, due to the nepotism in Canada, through the corrupt Emirates men that were actually trying to milk me for my success in Canada, in Nigeria, I had to leave. I had to sack all my staff members. I had to actually close up my facility or academy in order to relocate. So if you are in that particular scenario whereby you don't have anything to actually, you understand, benefit in Canada, in Nigeria again, you have to actually leave that country. Basically, you have to be willing to migrate from your home country, you understand, and to a better place that would help you career wise, without spending 15,000, 25,000, 40,000 on a regulated Canadian licensed immigration consultant, from a lawyer, without spending so much time. You understand? Because what we are going to be sharing with you today is something that you don't even need a lot of proof of funds for. You don't need 13,000 to 36,000 Canadian dollars for the proof of funds. You don't need to even spend 50,000. Some people spend 50,000, $100,000 on getting a 4 to 5 4 year, a 2 to 4 year degree in Canada. You don't need to come and spend as a vocational training educator or as a student. You don't need to spend all this money to actually learn these vocational trainings, tailoring, plumbing, style. You don't need to spend so much. You understand? There's an easy way that you won't actually spend so much time getting duped by travel agents to help you do this. You understand? And this is what has helped me to actually set up my own business and be able to make on a monthly basis an excess of 3 million naira every month by this process. Even if I spent less, within 2 3 months of landing in Canada, I made more than what I actually spent to actually come to Canada. So are you someone that, instead of coming through our one-on-one immigration process, our consultation sessions that can even be up to 75,000 within years of actually getting consultation sessions, are you someone that wants to benefit from the perfect Canada immigration, you understand, without having to actually forfeit social benefits that you get from Canada? You won't forfeit the law, because here in Canada, nobody's above the law. You understand? And you still make money. You will still be able to build on your pension. You will still be able to build on your healthcare. You will still be able to take care of your children. You will still be able to even get insurance benefits, disability benefits, free education, parental leave, and all these things that your family will benefit when you land here. If you are not even married, you can get married here and even benefit from what? From the immigration process. Still benefit from what? The Canada social benefits for yourself, for your wife, for your children. Now, all these things I'm telling you is things that we are going to teach you in the job search training, in the relocation to Canada with Menial Job offer, in the work permit that you can get in Canada, in the make money and migrate to Canada, in the IELTS training if you want to, which is not compulsory, in the visit for permanent for refugee asylum claimants training that would help you do. You understand? Many of you in Nigeria, for instance, you see what is currently happening. Before, it was even the fraud scarcity. Now it is even corruption and everything. Hike of the currency. You understand? Naira being increasing day by day. The last time I checked it, the naira is about 1,200 naira. You understand? Just $1. So if you want to understand it, you know that it keeps on reducing, it keeps on, you understand, things keeps on getting worse day by day, basically, in Nigeria. And if you want to actually get help, if you want to actually let us to help you through the Canada Menial Job system, the system that would help you get access to first class jobs, help you get access to people that would help you to get jobs, people that would help you to relocate to Canada, people that would help you to not just be in your home country without doing anything, but help you to what? To achieve what you want to achieve abroad. Then you have to sign up to this Canada Menial Job system. And this Canada Menial Job system, the total value of it is $20,000, but instead of you paying so much for it, you would just pay $6,997 for it. And what would that provide you with? That would provide you with the access, the networks, the links that you would use to actually get a high paying work, a better standard of living for you and your family, for you to relocate from your home country to Canada within few months or few weeks, and to even earn more income. You understand? Get to actually network with immigrants that would make your relocation process easier and support you throughout the process. Something I do always talk about is how I was able to transform my state in Nigeria, how I was able to transform my situation in Nigeria to a better situation in Canada. I remember how my land was taken away from me unlawfully because of the corruption in Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria, and how I was able to actually set up a real estate business in Canada without even being a Canadian, without being someone that was like an indigenous person in this place. That's to show you that in Canada, without, you understand, you stressing yourself so much about it, you can actually become successful in Canada. You can not just start a business, you cannot just, you understand, go into menial jobs. You have the opportunity. Students can own cars in Canada. They can actually do Uber driving in Canada. They can even go into real estate in Canada, and we'll show you how you can actually achieve it. So let me ask you, would it be rather better for you to actually spend little, you understand, in order to achieve your Canadian dream? Or would you forfeit your Canadian dream and actually hold up, you understand, with your money? Now, that being said, I want to actually show you that when I was in Lagos, Nigeria, I was I and my common law partner, for instance, we had so much that we had to actually do. We had so much we had to actually go through. But when we came into Canada, we found out that life could be better. Things don't need to be as difficult as it is in Nigeria. I know that a lot of people are suffering right now, and now you have the opportunity to better your life. Now you have the opportunity to actually to get something that is better than what you have in Nigeria, than what you have in your home country. It may not even be Nigeria, it may be in Ghana, you may be in Kenya. So I want to give you an offer. Instead of 6,997 that I even talked about before, I want to reduce it further to $5,997 for you to get this support system, this Relocate to Canada with Menial Job package that I have for you right now. And you may be asking yourself, that okay, I talked about helping you, I talked about helping, you understand, others. If you are someone that, yes, you want to do this for your family, this is a package for you. And if you are someone that want to actually help others, you can actually spread the word out and get other people, and we have bonuses for you if you actually do that. You would also have access to our international migrant business coaching. So I'm going to be coaching you for people that want to get into business in Canada. I will show you how you can set up businesses in Canada, how you can even go into the real estate business in Canada. I will show you as well how you can actually earn money on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis in Canada. Do you understand? Even through the common law union partnership advantage, I would also show you how you can actually get visa approvals without having those eligibility, but having someone else that you collaborate with, someone that already has all what you need, but you will now even just pally with that person. You will just partner with that person and get what you want, you understand, as a result of you partnering with that person. So if you want to have access to that, you need to register to our discounted package of $5,997 right now in order to get the Relocate to Canada with Menial Job package. Now, again, I would like to ask you, is it likely that with all these extras that you have been given, you would spend less time wasting on taking language tests, taking or showing your academic qualifications yourself for Canada relocation? And with this, do you have the confidence that you'll be able to relocate faster to Canada and easier? Even though Rome was not built in a day, I'll tell you in a short time that I have been able to condense and cram pack and squeeze everything that was meant to elaborate on today. You understand? But in the package you would get more than that. And the overall reality is that I cannot actually show you everything in a webinar, you understand, but I can, once you actually join the package, I can condense everything, I can, you understand, bring out everything for you and give you a blueprint of how you can use to relocate to Canada as easily, faster as possible. So maybe I should ask you, our time on this webinar, was it well spent? Do you have any so-called questions on what you need to do, how you need to do it, and when you need to get started working on your immigration pathway? Do you understand? Is there any one thing or two things that I've showed you that you can actually start with right now from anywhere you are in, you understand, in the world, to get started with moving to Canada? Well, you have two um options. Is either you actually think of the worst case scenario, you staying back in your country, or in the best case scenario of you actually getting into Canada. And you need to ask yourself, is the risk worth it? Can you relocate to Canada as fast as possible with all what I've showed you, with all the packages that are available, and with everything that you really can actually get from this package? Or do you want to forfeit jobs that could actually get to you through, for instance, LinkedIn? For instance, I've gotten jobs from LinkedIn that I do talk about from recruiters. Recruiters would always reach out to me on LinkedIn and bring about contracts. Some of these jobs I can't do it because, yes, I already have my own business, I'm already doing things myself, but I have the people that are currently always contacting me on LinkedIn for jobs, and all I just do is that I serve as the middleman. I get people the jobs they want, and I get a cut from the job. So do you want access to that, whereby you can actually get jobs and even get recruiters to actually contact you directly, not even contacting you through me? They can contact you directly with the trainings that would take you through, with how we would even optimize your LinkedIn page in such a way that the Canadian employers will reach out to you on LinkedIn and give you jobs without even necessarily being in Canada already. I myself, I did it. I wasn't in Canada before I started getting jobs in Canada, before I started getting contracts in Canada. So you can also do it in such a way that, whether be it you're a permanent resident or a temporary resident, a student, a worker, a visitor, you can start working with Canadians. You can start working in Canadian companies without actually being in Canada already. And that will give you the money that you would now use to relocate to Canada. Do you understand? Now, this is a limited offer that is not going to be available anywhere else apart from now. So you can actually get it. But I just don't want to talk about this offer alone. I want to also give you a guarantee. And that is why we have the 6 months guarantee, 100% money back guarantee. If, for instance, you feel, yes, all what we are saying here is joke or is something that is unreal, you can actually try it. And if it doesn't work for you, it's something that we guarantee that if we're not able to provide you with what we have said in this webinar, your money will be given back to you 100% without removing a dime. Do you understand? But you can also pay in installments. Some people may say 5,997 is too much. Okay, yes, you can pay in a monthly installment, either 2 monthly installments or 3 monthly installments. 2 monthly installment of $2,999, or 3 monthly installment of $1,997. Okay, Aziz Al Mashud, thank you very much. Yes, I really appreciate this webinar. Thank you very much for that. Now, I would like to ask you, if you want to take up us on this offer, you also have some benefits, some bonuses. Some of you would always like to chat me on WhatsApp, and you say, yes, you talk to me. And most times I can't talk with a lot of people. I get hundreds of chats per day, and I cannot talk to everyone. And that's why we have the consultation sessions, where we would interact with you on a one-on-one basis. You understand? But if you work with us with this package, you will get free consultation sessions with me. You understand? On a daily basis, anytime, any day, where I will break down everything. And some people are already benefiting from it. One woman paid for this particular thing I'm talking about, and they have just even paid the first installment. They paid over $8,000 for this, just the first installment, and they will still pay another one. And why am I saying this? Is to make you understand that sometimes you may need more help. Just like Atu, when she later subscribed and she saw that, yes, these things are even more than what I said. Now she's even paying me more. You understand? But you don't need to pay more if you can actually get this cheaper. Because if you chat me up on WhatsApp, the fees that are going to be quoted will be more than what is on this webinar. You understand? There will be more than what is on this webinar. So this is the best offer you could get. And now I want to talk about the bonus, which is the Menial Job secret sauce. And many of you may say, okay, yes, I don't want to do IELTS. Yes, I don't have time for TEF Canada. Yes, I don't even have certificates. I don't have bachelors. I don't have ND. I don't have OND. And here with this secret sauce, 80% of the Canadian immigration processing will be done by us, while 20% will be done by you. Do you understand? And what that means is that you can focus on, okay, getting set on travel, while we focus on getting the visa for you. So would you like a kind of thing whereby we are going to take all the stress off you while you focus on just the travel planning? You just focus on, yes, you want to move to Canada, you focus on the clothes you buy, focus on all other things, while we focus on getting you the visa and even helping you to land and actually stay in Canada. Like we talked about the real estate, for instance, that I've been into. We have, understand, properties we're already investing into now, that people that come from Nigeria or come from other places can actually get access to some of those accommodation, some of those rental properties, and actually get to settle well in Canada when they land. So do you want something like that? Do you also want another bonus whereby we are going to help you to make money, not just for even migrating to Canada, but even after migrating to Canada, where you would be added to our private link on WhatsApp group, whereby we'll share with you how to make money in Canada whilst already in Canada, or even outside of Canada. Now, do you also want the second bonus, whereby we would give you access to our master classes? We have recorded master classes we have had with people. We even always have monthly master classes we take with people, and this is roughly the value of this is more than $399, in addition to what we have talked about before, that would help you not just come into Canada temporarily, but stay here permanently at the end of the day. Now, this offer, all these things that we have talked about, is just for the next 3 days. It's just for today, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. After this next 3 days is going to be off, and you are not going to have access to it again. So is this something you would like to actually key into right now, or you would waste time actually getting it? So you have two options. Either you are someone that you believe in giving first, you believe in putting your mouth where your putting your money where your mouth is. If you are someone like us that you believe in doing what others won't, if you are someone that you are willing to actually delay instant gratification for a better quality of life, for a better career and service for all, if you are someone that believes in helping others to get greener pastures abroad, then you can even help others. We always tell people, share this with your colleagues, with your family, with your friends, with your clients, and so on. And you can even get a referral commission on the payment as soon as you state your name and contact details when they actually reach out to us. Now, if this is not what you want, what exactly do you want? If it is not now, when do you need it? When are you going to take action? Because there's a reason why you joined this webinar. Even though we had a little glitches when we first started, you are still here right now. You are still listening to us right now. You understand, participating right now. So do you either want to migrate to Canada, or you want to make excuses? Because there are always two types of immigrants: people that make excuses and stay back home, and people that are good at traveling abroad fast. Because you can't be both. You can't take time. You can't actually, you understand, not take steps to your relocation and expect to move. It doesn't work that way. You have to start as fast as possible with what you have and with how. So, okay, that being said, the Canada Menial Job package, as I said, is 5,997 only, and you can pay either twice, you can pay either thrice. And if you want to pay, you can go on that link that we shared with you, A.O.S abroad, http://bit.ly /A.O.S abroad menial packages, or even on the Nigerian official GTB bank account of 0561848883. And once you actually pay into any of those accounts or through any of that link, just send an email of your screenshot to admin@aosacademy.com, on our WhatsApp 081 077 or call or text us on +1289689999343. So that being said, does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions before we actually call it a day? Now, before we end this today, I want to talk about the 20% versus 80% rule. And this is the rule whereby I want to actually tell you that many of the things we talked about today, many people won't even take it serious. It's just the truth. And that is just the difference between people that would actually get what they want and people that won't. You understand? But we always want to serve you. We always want to serve you more than even what you can actually pay for. And that is why I will talk about the last discount, or the last bonus rather, the last bonus we have for you today. And this bonus, as I call it, is the secret gift from heaven. Everything we have talked about, without this, you understand, many people won't do it. Without this, in fact, many people will not be willing to go through the process, because we have found that after years of working in this travel industry, that people just need that overall belief. People just need that overall, how would I call it now? That last plug in order to take action. And that last plug would help you and help me not just be involved in your relocation, but help you also celebrate when you finally land in Canada. And that would limit the migration challenges you actually have. Instead of doing it yourself, instead of going through the process yourself, instead of facing all the travel histories people can actually go through, with this, you understand, last bonus, you can actually determine yourself now if you want to take action now, or if you lack okay, sorry, before we go on, Tokpe Alarakwe said, well done, sir. Is it likely to get a LMIA job in Canada through the Canadian Job Bank? Yes, it's very likely. It's very, it's not even likely. It's assured for people that actually applies well. Firstly, they have links to people in that particular Canadian what they call it, company. And if you don't even have links, you should be able to actually interact with people in that Canadian, you understand, employment. We talked about that extensively in our package. You understand how you can build relationships with people in the company, and how you can get people to actually show your commitment to that particular employer, so that you get that job easily. So if you want to learn more about, because some people, thousands of people would also always reach out to employers on Canadian Job Bank only, and they will not get what? They will not get the job, because Canadian Job Bank is just the starting point. Do you understand? It is not the end. The fact that you applied does not mean your application has been singled out. You have to take other processes, other steps to getting in front of that employer. You understand, directly. And that is all the things we are going to explain to you in detail. You understand, in the what? In the Canadian Menial Job package. Now, lastly, the final bonus that we have by A.O.S is the Done For You package. You understand? And this package is the package whereby, in fact, everything, think of anything at all as regards your travel. Anything at all. Think of whether the proof of funds, whether the getting the job, just like you said, through Canadian Job Bank, whether the what do they call it, the visa. Think of anything whatsoever. We are going to work on it together with our immigration partners, either in Canada, in Nigeria, or abroad. All you just need to do is just to what? To provide us with some little things whilst we work on the other things yourself. And this is something for people that just pays within the next 5 minutes. If you don't pay within the next 5 minutes, you understand, you don't register for this package, the Done For You package is going to be gone. Do you understand? Is either you actually sign up for this, the Done For You package, or the Done or Do It With Me package. You understand? All what we have been saying before is the Do It With Me package, whereby you would also be, you understand, involved. You would also be given some certain tasks to do in order to achieve it. But this Done For You package is whereby we are going to do it on your behalf. You understand, with our immigration, and this is just for the next 5 minutes. Anybody that doesn't take it within the next 5 minutes won't have this Done For You bonus added to what? Added to the Canada Menial Job package. Now, lastly, as I said, the final call to action is the call to action for this, that I said that in the next 3 days, today, tomorrow, and next, this offer is going to be ending, and it costs just $5,997 only, or twice of 2,999, or 1,997 to be paid thrice. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Really appreciate you joining us. If you have any questions, this is your time to ask. Please let us know if you have any questions whatsoever before we call it a day today. And again, well done. How long does it take to get the job and relocate with LMIA jobs? Well, we have more or less talked about this, that 3 to 6 months is the average it can actually take for anyone to actually get an LMIA job. You understand? And there are some jobs that are exempt from LMIA jobs. I must also say that. And again, there are some countries that can actually take more time to actually apply. But the specifics of all these things, we always try to tell you that it's dependent on the country. Your country will determine, and how fast they get your application will determine when or how long you get the LMIA job, whether within the 3 to 6 months average time we talked about, or more or less. So I hope that answers your questions, Fatima. Thank you very much. So any other question? If we don't have any question, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much. Really appreciate everyone for joining, and do have a lovely day ahead. Okay, bye for now, everyone.